welcome everybody to another episode of the Lore Pod Podcast. I'm your host Dakota Morgan, coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona. And today we're going to be diving back into the world of Marvel Comics. We talk all about pop culture here, reviews, origin stories, storylines, interviews, and more. And here's the thing, before we dive any further though, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts for new episodes every week. And of course, my social media at Dakota Morgan 3 on X, and then at Instagram at Dakota_Morgan97, and Twitch, CodaRex97, and the YouTube page, Dakota Morgan. If you're on the YouTube page, be sure to subscribe, leave a like. Alrighty, we're diving back into the world of Marvel, like I said here, and we're going Iron Man. That's right here. And a storyline that is pretty balls to the walls nuts. We're going to be covering the Superior Iron Man storyline. Now, this is the storyline where Tony went bad, Tony went evil. And in order to know why he went evil, no, it wasn't because of the drinking, as one might think. It is due to the Axis storyline. And a brief sum up of that, Magneto killed Red Skull, who actually had Xavier's brain because Xavier was dead, Professor X, and of course the brain had all the powers. But when Magneto killed Red Skull, it actually formed the villain Red Onslaught, who took on the X-Men and Avengers with Stark Industries-made adamantium Sentinels, who had all the knowledge of all the heroes and their weaknesses from data taken from Tony during Civil War. Now, all this, so they were all taken down by a team of villains who the Sentinels weren't prepped and ready to go against, all led by Magneto. And then, in order to combat Absolute Onslaught, the Red Onslaught, Doom and Scarlet Witch, Dr. Doom, who, a little known fact, does a lot of magic. Dr. Doom and Scarlet Witch use a spell to reverse the hate and the evil in Red Onslaught and switch it to kindness. But that spell did have an effect on some of the heroes, turning them into villains, and even the inverted Avengers, which led to a couple more Avengers Civil War. Yeah, that's the Access storyline there. Mixed reviews on that one from everybody, but needless to say, we might not be doing Access now because we just fucking covered it. Now, flash forward a little bit there, because obviously Tony was affected by this, and he became the more evil version of himself. Now, as we flash forward, Tony at a baseball game shows up there in San Francisco and gives everybody there an app for free. Now, the app, it allows them to actually change their physical appearance. That's right, they change their physical appearance to who they truly are and basically who they want, making it so cosmetic surgeries are free for everybody. And this is going to be from a technovirus that comes with the app. And over with this, all of San Francisco is allowed to have this, and they all change their appearances. Now, Tony does show up, though, and actually comes with a new armor that's going to be white and black with blue lights. Now, the blue lights on there do change to red when he does get angry, and needless to say, he's a villain, so they're going to turn red a lot. Now, here's the thing. This is liquid metal armor that was going to wrap around him and come off and put on really easy. And how he was able to make this is it wasn't just liquid armor that just would form around him. He used the building blocks from a symbiote in order to help design it and have a psionic link with that armor, so the armor will know what he is feeling at all given times. Now, after 1 week of this, the trial period did end and chaos erupted around San Francisco. People then needed to pay for this app that would change their cosmetic features, and they were all hooked and addicted just like a severe drug. So crime became rampant as people were trying to get all the money they could in order to be able to do this. Now, Daredevil was actually taking a vacation from New York and spending time in San Francisco during this time period as well. Yeah, I don't know. That was a weird thing. I think Ant-Man was also in San Francisco too at the time, but he looked at this probably and said, fuck this, I'm not dealing with that. Daredevil, who was in town, tried to clean it up there and actually confronted Tony on his island that he owned now, which was bought out called Stark Island, and Stark Island was Alcatraz. That was just repurposed and remade for Tony Stark's, whatever you wanted. And it's funny too, because most of the time you do see him without a faceplate, but he actually just has see-through armor on there, so even if you shot him in the face, which people try to do, it wouldn't work. Now, Tony and them do battle it out. Tony and Daredevil, him and Matt battle it out hardcore. And during this, Iron Man actually threw Daredevil into the ocean, making it a nightmare hellish escape here for him for his sensory overload. But he came back and kidnapped Tony and put him in an EMP kind of cell, which seemed pretty good, right? But Tony actually planned for that, and you just never win with this guy. Tony planned for that to happen there, and it was a setup to let him be captured, and then the armor came to him, and that's where he said, we have a psionic link there. He feels emotions and knows where he is. And they battled it out again, and he actually used the Extremis virus, the technovirus, to give Daredevil back his sight temporarily, throwing Daredevil off there. Matt had no idea what the fuck I can do with this. And then, of course, Tony's like, if you stay loyal to me, I will keep it up. This is only temporarily. Like, and he's just drinking the whole time while doing all this crazy shit. Like, he's like, hello there. I am an asshole. Like, my suit looks kind of cool, but I will say, though, too, as a little behind the scenes, right before this, or in the Access time one, he had his black and yellow suit, which I love the color combo, black and yellow, black and gold. Maybe it's from my high school days in Illinois, maybe. But the suit looked awesome. It had red eyes on it and shit, too. And this is after that, so he went from that black and yellow suit to this white extreme thing. It was neat. I never missed the black and yellow suit. I really do. Although Superior Iron Man's suit looks really dope. It even has an opening for his hair to stick out as well, too. It looks like very 90s. Yeah, it is very 90s. Now, Tony and Matt do actually have a heart-to-heart here, and Tony admits to just plain human, and he doesn't play, and that he's actually a god, is what he feels like now, and everybody on Earth is a speck and beneath him, because that's what we want to hear from the billionaire genius. Now, to help combat crime, Tony actually then unleashed a drone system of flying cameras around that actually had data taken on everybody because of their cell phone usage. So because of everyone in the app, it was able to take data and facial recognition and AI programs and whatnot to help stop all the crime, stop terrorism, stop supervillains, figure out where they are, even had stuff on all the heroes because of the data that they had already on them. Now, due to this no crime, no, it was only because they had no more freedom. Everything was known about them in public and everybody there in the city. Which is wild. Now, Daredevil did some investigations here and figured out that the app actually triggers the virus. And the only reason that it's in San Francisco right now, why Tony did it, is because San Fran banned bottled water. And so Tony actually then put the technovirus in the water supply of San Francisco. So then the app puts out a sonic frequency there and triggers the virus in people. It's like a combination of worlds with the storyline, because Technovirus is from X-Men there, where we've seen it with a few different things. And we have Daredevil coming in. There was magic that started this whole shit. Like, it's wild. It's pretty cool. Now, Tony and Daredevil then battle it out again. I mean, Iron Man's going to be kicking Daredevil's ass in this techno armor suit every time, but Matt doesn't give up. He's trying. And a lot of other heroes right now are villains, so he's kind of on his own. But Daredevil was sent crashing out of his tower on the island, and Iron Man, knowing it was going to be a PR nightmare if Daredevil died on his tower, sent the suit out to capture him. And it did. So it saved him. It saved Daredevil's life, but then kidnapped him and sent him down to a workshop. And what happened in his workshop was Tony then erased Daredevil's memory of the events that recently happened, and then transferred him to a hospital that he controlled so he can keep an eye on him. Again, this guy is an absolute D-bag. I love Iron Man. I really do. I've loved him for years with the old anime and shit too, but Evil Tony is wild, because Evil Tony, you could just see just snapping one day and just doing it on his own. Now he actually decided, fuck it here, and developed a big super weapons here, and went to the U.S. military, which he never does, and went to U.S. military to sell it to him for $200 billion. Now he did make Chinese and Russian versions of this to sell it to them as well, and then bought out most media companies to control them and put them in a positive light. I mean, this is where we find out that he decided, I'm gonna save mankind here, and because I need to save it from itself. So we're gonna end mankind, and these weapons are gonna destroy everything and snuff it out. Once they're sold to the military, and once the military uses them, basically he turned into Skynet. So it's Skynet at this point. Now Pepper Potts comes into the picture here. No, they're not dating or anything like that. It's not the same Pepper Potts version that you know from the movies, at least right now. Pepper Potts comes in there and buys more than half of the Tony Stark Industries shares, stopping Tony from being able to do the sales. Now, at this time as well, there was a backup plan for Tony, who years ago was scared of a psionic attack, a mental attack there from a villain, maybe another hero or something. Maybe some of his hardware did it. Now, he was scared of this, so he actually built in the safe plan. And the safe plan was activated after all these events. He made a backup of his brain. So Hero Tony was then transferred into all of his armor suits. Like, he has a lot, right? He has an army of just regular Iron Man suits, different versions of them and shit. And so the brain was then transferred into those and tried to stop him, because they knew that Tony was compromised. So they tried to take on, but most of those suits were destroyed. And so then what actually happened is that new suits kept arriving and stuff during this point. And Tony decided, in order to help combat this, because this is getting annoying, he decided to host a pool party on his island and then took control of everybody mentally using that technovirus and used them all as human shields. Then the suits actually got together, formed a massive army to get people out of the way, quickly got them out. But Tony then decided, all right, fuck this, and used to absorb more metal, and the liquid armor turned into basically a giant evil Ironmonger suit with mixture of Hulkbuster there, and that even took on a Hulkbuster on the Golden Gate Bridge, and Tony just obliterated that armor suit. Like, this man is basically a god. He made himself a god at this point. Obliterated like a Mark 40 Hulkbuster suit in no time. Now, Pepper showed up though in her own armor there, which I believe is pink in this one, and used a sonic blast on Tony, and it seemed like he was defeated, but he wasn't. He tricked them, and he actually uploaded a virus there to kill the hero brain of Tony, which he did, and then he also put it on a he's like, well, Hero Me can be on a flash drive, and he destroyed that flash drive too. Again, douchebag Tony. Reading this storyline was wild, and then just going through it again here to make this podcast for you guys was insane. I'm just like, this is just nuts. Now, during this time too, there was a couple Avengers Civil Wars here happening to just people getting back to normal there, and they actually used spells to reverse the bad heroes and shit too, and villains were then heroes, so they reversed everybody back. But Tony actually kept safeguards in play there to help avoid being switched back. That's why he stayed the same. Now, actually, after all this, once Tony destroyed his good heroic self there on the flash drives, Pepper then used Stark Industries and the companies then to expose Stark, telling everybody in the world what happened in San Francisco, the virus in the water, all of it. And then the world turned on him, as they fucking would. And we're like, no, you put what in our water? Okay, no. Tony then decided, well, I can't be here anymore, I'm screwed. And so then he went to space to take on Thanos. Yeah. Now, he did pretty well though, but an old Herald of Galactus, Tarax the Tamer, defeated his ass, and his armor hanging on by a thread, and they imprisoned him there in a space prison. But then the Avengers actually rescued him, because they're probably like, well, maybe Tony can be saved. And during this time there, he used a powerful weapon that he designed and destroyed a Shi'ar fleet. Yeah, that's right, the Shi'ar fleet was destroyed, and then they returned to Earth. But here's the thing though, he's on barely any battle power supply there for the liquid armor, like the fleet battle, the Thanos battle, all that shit there wore him down physically and for his armor. Now, Captain America, who's an old man right now due to the virus his serum wearing off, which is why during this whole time there, Falcon is Captain America. Now, we're seeing in the movies right now. This is, of course, years ago before this even happened. Now, old man Cap shows up there, pissed off, and he's like, Tony, no, and he's battling it out there because as he started to remember things of his mind getting wiped due to the Illuminati, which Tony was a part of. This was before all this happened, and them using the time stone and messing with Steve's brain, so he was raging at this. He came in as an old man, but wearing a Captain America version of a War Machine suit. And him and Tony, who was on his last legs, just started beating the hell out of each other. And Tony's on his deathbed, gets one good shot in Cap, whose helmet was off then, gets a good headshot on him. Tony seems like he's about to die. And then what happens? Well, a SHIELD cruiser comes crushing down on both of them, seemingly killing them. And that there is where the Superior Iron Man story ends. Yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed this episode here today. Again, this was a blast to make, and Marvel Comics really outdid themselves on that one there with design, storytelling and such too, and giving you that evil Iron Man. But what I like about it is it really shows it could just be Tony. Like, it doesn't need to be a magic spell doing this. If he snapped, you could see him just doing this. That's what I think's cool about it. Maybe one day we'll cover Superior Spider-Man, which is wildly different, and I think you'd all would like it. Thanks everybody for joining me in this episode of the LorePod Podcast, and hopefully, again, you enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe for new episodes every week. I've been your host, Dakota Morgan, and of course, remember everyone, stay creative.